For this week's podcast, I want to talk with you a little bit about church and why do we have church? Um, we can focus on why we have church from a lot of aspects, but I want to skinny it down to what should be the most important job of the church. Because I think either we're confused or don't know, or we get so involved with doing church and making a successful church that we may miss the point. Um, how do you know if your church is successful? And by whose standards are we measuring success? From the human standards, if your church has a lot of people, parking lot's full, the offerings are good, then you say, the church is a success. And while those can be important measures to look at, I think we need to reevaluate the purpose of church. Um, I'm reminded of 1 Corinthians 13, and I want to share that with you here a little bit from. It's believed to be a writing of Paul. 1 Corinthians 13. If I speak in the tongues of humans and of angels, but do not have love, I am a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. And if I have prophetic powers and understanding all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith, so as to remove mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give away all my possessions, and if I hand over my body so that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. Well, in thinking of the church, how might I apply this? If I can speak in the languages of humans and multiple languages and even offer sign language and I can do everything, but I don't love the people that are there and around me and help the hurting, then we're just making a lot of noise. And if we have great prophetic powers and understanding of everything, we can teach great sermons, we can teach great Sunday school lessons, and we can explain the Bible, and we can teach people how you do Christian in steps. You do this, you do this, you do this, then you're saved, and you follow the life and lessons of Jesus. But if we don't actually love the people around us, if we don't actually love the people that we're ministering to, or we don't actually love the people that enter our place of ministry that maybe we'd just rather they didn't come there, then we've done nothing. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is not envious or boastful or arrogant or rude. Love does not insist on getting your own way. It is not irritable. Okay, I have a problem with that. I'm quite often irritable. I might need to write that down. Love is not irritable. Preach to myself here a little bit. It keeps no record of wrongs. It does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices in the truth. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. So true love for others is no matter what, no matter what, no matter what. And now faith, hope, and love remain, these three. But the greatest of these is love. So no matter what conversations, beliefs, sermons, what kind of music you have at church, doesn't matter. The most important thing is love. So whether I have 1,000 people sitting in church or I have 80, what's important? Is it more important to have 1,000 people than it is to have 80 and maybe 10 of those people, of those 80, really need to know and understand love? And you can't teach them about the love of God unless you show them the love of God. You can't speak with all these great words and then not actually apply it and nobody sees it. You can't say you are a follower of the life and lessons of Jesus, but you don't do what Jesus modeled and taught and shows us. If you have no compassion for people, even when people have done wrong things, you still have to have compassion. I made a cartoon several years ago on grace. Actually, I wrote a book on Amazing Grace, using the lyrics of Amazing Grace, but also the actual concept of grace. See if I can get this correct. I'll post that cartoon up here as well. Justice without mercy and grace is just mean. You have to have compassion on people. You have to love people. You have to want what is best for people. Period. If a church's main job is not to love the people that are there, then it's missing the point. Having one person in your church who really needs your love in that moment is more important than having 1,000 people that walk in and walk out with full offering plates and woohoo, look how good we are. Being a successful church has very little to do with how many people are there, but has everything to do with the quality of love and ministry that that church offers. And it's not solely based on how many people are there and how much money the church raises. It's on what do you actually do to impact the lives of the people in a positive way. And while evangelism and teaching people the life and lessons of Jesus and how to follow that and modeling that is very important, you can't effectively teach people about the love of God if you aren't loving all people. You're a clanging cymbal and a noisy gong if that's all that's happening. So I don't, in our human structures and situations and the way we look at success in life, success in business, success in so many ways, I can certainly understand how churches can be tarnished and misguided into measuring success in these very understandable human terms. But what is the church doing to change lives? Change lives. And I'm talking about more than just evangelism and telling people what they ought to do. Telling and showing people how to follow Jesus the Christ in the life and lessons. Showing them how the public Christianity or the political Christianity is not actually Christianity. Our world has made a terribly wrong turn. American society, in this group that call themselves Christian nationalism, are holding a Bible and wrapping themselves in a flag in order to be racist and prejudiced and discriminatory and be anything but models of the Christ that we know as Jesus. How do you measure the success of a church? The success of a church should be measured in how they are ministering the hurting, the people that need help, the people that don't have hope. And if the only way you do that is by giving them a Bible and telling them to read it, or getting them down to the altar in the church and praying with them, if that's the only thing you're doing, you're missing the point. You have to be Jesus to every single person who comes to your church. If they're hungry, you feed them. But if they're lonely, you love them and spend time with them. If they're rejected, then you accept them. And if you say, I love you, but, oops, you just negated your statement of love. I have written chapters on this very topic, the success of a church, and I actually didn't go through and reread any of my writings on that, because for this topic, I felt we just need to keep it simple. It needs to be kept very simple because it really is that simple. When you look across your churches on a Sunday, who's sitting all alone? Who is it that doesn't get talked to? Who there is hurting? Who there put on a mask to come to church because they don't want anyone to know they're hurting? They're hiding their hurts. I used to know this retired preacher, and when I was in my 20s and early 30s, he would go out in the middle of the week to his son-in-law's ranch up in, oh, kind of near Sealy, but not really Sealy, kind of out in the country there. And somebody says, hey, you want to ride out with me? I'm going out to check on the cows or something. So I'd ride with him. And Never was I ever alone with this man where he did not say these words. The world is full of hurting people. The world is full of hurting people. He would say that over and over and over. Every single time I saw this man, the world is full of hurting people. He didn't really elaborate on that. He didn't say, and so here's our plan on how to deal with that. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. He just said, the world is full of hurting people. The world is full of hurting people. And that should be the focus of any church. How do you help hurting people? Yes, helping people find God's love and find, know, and understand that love and loving others can only be done if you are, in fact, loving people. And loving people is not just words. It's not putting a sign on the church, all are welcome here. It's not just saying, we love you, we're glad you're here. It's not just shaking their hand during the greeting part of church. Do I know the solution for that? No. Has anyone yet perfected that? I don't think so. I have seen some really good, powerful, loving churches that are doing great jobs for their community, or even for communities that are not their community. I don't know that any church has figured out the way to be the church of Jesus' love. And I've been blessed to be part of many very loving, good churches. Um, could I make a list of all the churches I've ever been a part of? I've had the great joy of being part of many, many great, excellent churches. I'm an active part in 2 churches right now, and I'm actually an active member at 2 churches right now that have so many good, positive things going for them. Each of them have some things I wish they did a little better. And not just because it would make me happy, but because it's like both of them are just almost there. And I suspect that's true for many, many churches. It's like they're just almost there. I think there are a lot of churches that aren't even close to being there. How they keep a straight face when they say they're following the life and lessons of Jesus, I don't know. But there are a lot of good quality churches in Houston. I'm a member of 2 of them, and they're really just on the edge of being there. So when you sit back in your church or you look at a church, and I guess I'm really talking to people that actually go to church at this point, look at your church and say, what is the measure of success here? And the church's annual report, whenever they give the annual report, all the things they list for the reporting of the things the church has done, how much of that is about the world is full of hurting people and this is what we're doing to help? I have been a part of several conversations recently about um, how do we improve our church? Um, how do we make the church more successful? What does our church need to do? We need to get more people in. Well, we do need to get more people. Every church needs to get more people in. But why? So that our reports look better? Or we need to get more people in because there are a lot of people that aren't being loved, and we need to love them and show them they are loved and teach them how to love others by modeling it. Keeping it simple. The world is full of hurting people. We need to love them and teach them how to love others because we're modeling it. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. Thank you. Have a great week.